Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. I don't know if you can hear me okay. I'm using my microphone. So I decided to take a break from painting today. I've been painting a lot. I'm really proud of myself. And I decided it was a really good day, uh, maybe this Saturday, maybe Sunday too, to take a break from painting because I'm doing that for work now, so it's work. But I also missed you all, so um, I decided to just go ahead and log on and yeah, so I'm gonna make some food with some leftovers. It's gonna be pretty simple, but depending on how much you cook, there might be something that you learn, or yeah, it's all good. You can see I have some stuff out, so this is a leftover meal. So like most leftover meals, there's like, "Hi everyone, welcome. Let me know if you have any comments. I can actually respond now." And like when I'm painting. Okay, so I have a leftover burger patty. I have some leftover cabbage that I cooked with sausage, and I have some leftover turkey meat. I'm going to make some rice, and I'm going to fry the meat with some vegetables and add some jalapeno and garlic and soy sauce to make like a little stir fry. And I'm going to eat that over rice, and I think it's going to be really good. I did forget to finish wiping this down before I started. Okay. So I'm not going to soak my rice very long just because uh, I probably should have prepped it earlier if I was going to do that. But since I don't want to spend too much time on this, I'm going to start boiling my water for my rice, and then I'm going to wash it. Oh, that's the wrong burner. This is a short grain rice that I like. The way that I'm preparing it, you can do with long grain or short grain rice, but there is like a whole art of steaming short grain rice that I'm not very knowledgeable about. So they're not the same, but the way I'm preparing them, you can do with both. So no matter what kind of rice you're using, you want to rinse it really well. So I just poured off some of the rice. I always use it to wash my hands and put a little on my face because, of course, rice water is awesome for your skin. But for the cooking part, you don't want to like run fresh water over it and just kind of gently disturb it and mix it with your hands. And you know how much you want it to be cloudy or not like that when you put it in the water kind of depends on the texture you like because that's like starch. And so, yeah, so it depends if you want it, how much you want it to be sticky and stuff. But So I kind of like it a little with a little bit more of the starch. So I usually I might not rinse it as much as someone else who's like going for a different thing. Hi everyone, welcome. Okay, that water's almost boiling and I'm not quite ready. I'm gonna let this soak a little more. I'm gonna put some salt in the water. And what am I gonna do next? Little frying pan. I have this really cute kind of light purple set. I'm gonna use a couple different kinds of oils. This is just vegetable oil. Here's my leftover turkey. You can see we did a pretty good job. There's not a whole lot left. Sorry for the noise. That's my dishwasher. It does that. So I have a cutting board. I'm gonna carve some of the meat off of this and just toss it into that oil, and that's where I think I'm gonna start with this part. Just using a little knife for this. Sometimes I feel like this kind of knife works better than a lot of the kind of fancier ones. Hi everyone, welcome. No. Sorry, that's complete gibberish. I don't know. Sometimes I just get talking too fast. This is sponsored. I decided to sponsor the Brita water bottle because I have one and I love it. I've had it for a long time. And I used to, the water is not super safe where I live. It's not super safe a lot of places. So, and when I used to work in the schools here, there really isn't safe water there. So I always worried about the kids. And then I was really happy when I saw that they had these kind of water bottles. I was like, someone should invent something like that because, when my kid gets old enough to be going to school like that, I'd want her to have one. So that's kind of what got me thinking about them. I saw a lot of people talking about these filter straws, and I think that's again my carving skills. There's not a lot of meat left. It's a little rough going here, but I think those look great. I just think that the Brita water bottle is kind of like having the it's kind of like having thank you for the heart. It's kind of like having one of those filter straws like in your like having the sorry, having trouble multitasking here. Having the filter and of the filter straw in the same container that you can store your water to, because this one is like a liter size. Stores a good amount. So I don't think you should like over prep, but I was raised that it was never a bad idea, and that was always essential to prep a little. Like my grandparents and parents always said, I'm gonna use my hands. Always have some beans and rice and dried goods and water, because you just never know. And when you think about what every one of those generations lived for, like what lived like that, like where they had to be prepared, why should it be different for us? It's just always a good idea. And dried beans, like entertainment only, but dried beans like never really go bad. So I got some like a long time ago that was like in case of an emergency, and it's like those are the emergency beans. We just don't use them, and they don't go bad. So we always have them. And there's other beans that we have that we eat all the time. It's just we just keep them separate, so I just always know they're there. And if nothing else, when you don't go too far with it and you're within your means with it, but you're smart, it's always a good idea to have some stored goods, and it helps with my anxiety, and that's a good enough reason to do it. It makes sense in a common sense kind of way, and it also uh, can help you feel better about like things that are uncertain. So turn that down. There's still, I'm probably going to make some more broth with that, so I'm just going to set it to the side. And I'm going to put in all of this gravy and stuff that was just kind of at the bottom of the container. Awesome. Now we're cooking. Give the rice a stir. I could use a different spoon, but I'm not going to. Okay. I'm going to clean this up a little. Hi, Ramses. That's my dog. He's being very good. Okay. What do I want to do now? I think I want to throw in some garlic and a whole jalapeno because I'm feeling like I would like something spicy, and some garlic, and I'm going to keep it on low, maybe even turn that off a little until I get some more of these ingredients in. Yeah. Let's turn the back burner off. Let's turn the front burner off and the back burner up. Hi, welcome everyone. Yeah, so check out the Brita water bottle if you're looking for a good option. I just think it's great because you can use it to store water in an emergency at home and make sure it's safe to drink. And also, it's great for travel or work in school because a lot of the times the truth is you're just working somewhere that you might know that you don't have access to the greatest or even safe water, and it's just if you have concerns like that, they're probably valid because there's a lot of issues with that all over the world and in the U.S. When I was growing up, people made it sound like it was like a problem elsewhere, but since Flint and everyone generally knows more about the water access issues on Native American reservations in the United States, like we should all know better now that it's really a big problem here too. But even in cities like Denver, there's a big problem with lead in the pipes, and in fact, the cities just sent me like a water testing kit, which I really appreciate because unfortunately I have some personal experience with this, with like why I worry about it so much. And I'm really glad the city's addressing it. We have a lot of work to do getting the lead out of our main lines and our schools. So if you live in America, you probably have a similar situation, and that's why I recommend the Brita water filter. I'm glad someone's still here. I know, kind of serious. I'm kind of a serious person, so I apologize, but not really. Like the right people will find me, and also I can't really tell who's on here, but because sometimes it doesn't seem to quite line up. Like they'll say people are coming into the room, but it won't necessarily show up. So I don't know, but anyways, I think it's important to talk about those things, even though, and it's okay if not everyone's like in the mood to think about them. I'm going to test how well done this rice is. It is not done. I'm going to add a little salt and give that a few more minutes. But yeah, I've had this bottle for about a year, and it's peace of mind, and I, find it really, really nice and easy to use and easy to replace the filters, which you do need to do from time to time. But I am getting a few cloves of garlic. That's turning into like a half a head of garlic. So yeah, this is the head, and these are the cloves. So the head of garlic is made of the cloves of garlic. Welcome everyone. Please tap the screen if you're enjoying the live to just let the algorithm know. I'm really glad that you're here. Oh, I definitely want to turn that off. I still have a lot of stuff to add, and I don't want to cook it like exactly the same time, but I want it to cook close to the same time. Okay, now you smush the garlic. This is really interesting. There's this chemical in garlic that gives it that pungent flavor, right? And it happens to, this is where I get into the really nerdy neuroscience part of my personality. So if you're here for that, yeah, that's great. And if not, that's okay. So the pungent flavor, it activates these receptors that are evolved to be sensitive to and respond to the stimulus of noxious chemicals like chlorine fumes and stuff like that, and just kind of like capsaicin, which activates the receptors that detect noxious heat, and methanol, which activates the receptors um, that detect noxious cold. And they don't actually just activate them, they actually shift the temperature threshold so that it's like, instead of your body telling your brain, oh, that's hot, that's too hot, get away from it, it's dangerous, when it's like 110 degrees, maybe those same receptors will go off at like room temperature, or maybe even a little below. So that's actually how capsaicin works, but it's just like a little bit. And I saw a lecture about this a long time ago when this research had just come out in like 2011, and right before I graduated, with my undergrad in neuroscience. So it was like one of the last lectures I saw towards the end of that phase of everything, and I thought it was so interesting. But they were like, what we don't understand is like why people like this. That's probably still a mystery. But anyways, I heard since then, someone say, excuse me, I didn't see a lecture on it or anything like the other examples that I gave, but I heard that chemical that creates that kind of pungent flavor that garlic has, and that also things like mustard have, I believe, that it's only released in garlic as a response from the plant. This is kind of sad when you think about like how intelligent plants are, but we thank them for nourishing us, anyways. So they only release this chemical as like a self-defense mechanism. So that's why you crush garlic to release this. That's why it's more flavorful when you. Isn't that interesting? It's wild. Okay. So welcome to my brain. But really, I've studied a lot of I've studied Ayurvedic medicine, and I've studied traditional Chinese medicine, both like formally, and I am a neuroscientist and bioinformaticist. So like I do think a lot about how food interacts with our bodies and our brains in those kinds of ways a lot. So if you think it's cool, like welcome. That's part of what you're getting with me, because that's just who I am, and I'm really happy to share it with people that vibe with it. I'm going to check on this rice again. Yeah, so again, check out the Brita water bottles if you haven't. They're really amazing. Okay, that's about done. I want some of this starchy rice water. I want it cooking in here. That's going to be yummy. Okay. That's going to act like a thickening agent, like cornstarch or just like that, but it's just some water from the top of my sticky rice that's almost done cooking. And now what I do, I turn the burner off for that and I pour off almost all the water once it's like almost done, And it depends because I like it a little like al dente sometimes. But I want it to cook a little more. So there's still a little water on the top and there's still a little heat on that burner I just turned off. And I like to add a lot of butter at this point and some black pepper. And then I can just let it sit while I finish doing my little leftover stir fry here. How much butter? I don't know. I'm allergic to milk, so like really pretty badly allergic. But there's like almost no milk protein in butter, and I should really make ghee because that's clarified, so that would be even better for me. But anyways, it's like the only dairy product I can really eat is butter or ghee, and so it's really important to me because it stands in for a lot of other flavors that I love dairy, but I just can't eat it. And I used when I was pregnant, I took the Lactaid, and it was enough when I was pregnant. But as soon as I wasn't, and my autoimmune system kicked back up because that can happen. Then it was like a true allergy. Like when I was a kid, it came back with a vengeance, and I'm just glad I can still eat butter. And I probably really should. I'll make ghee and I'll show you guys how I make it sometime. Okay, I added the garlic, I added the pepper. I'm gonna turn the heat back up here. I still have a little rosemary. I'm gonna add a little to this, and I'm also gonna save some of it for some more tea. I have this leftover burger patty. I'm gonna cut it in half because I'm gonna share it with my husband and put this back because he doesn't like we eat a lot of the same food, but we don't. I was thinking earlier about like how I clean the counter with I use this mix my mom does with just like white vinegar with some lemon in it. I think it's the perfect like cleaner. And my husband likes the Clorox spray, and so when he cleans the kitchen, he uses the Clorox spray, and when I clean the kitchen, I use vinegar with lemon soaked in it, and it works. Yeah. So I could just rip it up, but I'm gonna just cut it and kind of shred it a little. Okay. Mm. The smell's really starting to come together with like all the layers from I made this broth a few days ago with some chicken thighs, and I used that to make the broth I used to cook the turkey in, and I used it for the gravy and the stuffing and everything, and then I added it back into this. Speaking of which, there's also that rice looks perfect. I also have this cabbage I cooked the other night. I cooked it with some of that chicken broth. That's what reminded me. But anyhow, it's sausage and cabbage and onion, and I'm just gonna add some of it to the stir fry that I'm working on here. So yeah, leftover night, leftover stir fry, leftovers dinner. I think isn't that a beautiful color? The purple cabbage, it's like crazy. They say like eat the rainbow to get like the nutrients and stuff. I like it. So yeah, I was gonna say I love cooking leftovers because it's a really creative process. I was talking in my studio time where I share like painting and sometimes music with everybody that that I've done a lot of found art, where you take things that other people might consider trash and you like rearrange them into something beautiful. And so this is very much, Leftover Night is very much in that spirit, but like with food. So this is almost done. But that burger was pretty medium rare. So I do want to let it cook more, especially because it's leftover. So it never hurts to cook the meat a little longer, especially with all these recalls, right? So I'm just going to do a little of this rosemary. I'm going to save the rest of it for some tea. And chop it up a little. You really don't have to cut up the rosemary, but since I'm not going to cook this very long, I'm going to do that so that it, since it doesn't have as much time to release the oils and stuff that make it such a great aromatic, and it has some really nice properties from like a non-traditional Western herbal perspective. Rosemary, I'm not going to teach a lot of that stuff explicitly here, although I've studied it for a long time, but I will just like point people in the right direction. That's like, look that up if you're interested, like what are the properties of rosemary that she's talking about, so I want to empower you to, and if you have any specific questions, you can message me, but I'm not going to get real in depth in that stuff in my videos beyond just saying, kind of general stuff like that. This looks awesome. I'm going to add some soy sauce, some more soy sauce, because there's already soy sauce in there. I'm going to add some mustard. I'm going to add some cinnamon. Ooh, that was more than I meant, but I love cinnamon, so that's good because that was a lot of it. And some Cajun, that'll help balance that out a little. Some cumin, that'll also help balance that out. So spices are good for you, speaking of herbalism. So, if it tastes like a lot of spices, I'm just like, well, eat it anyways because it's probably good for you. As long as you're not like allergic or anything. I'd never encourage you to eat something that it's not funny. Sometimes I laugh because I'm uncomfortable. Yeah, but never a reason to eat something that you're intolerant to or allergic to. And now I'm going to let that sit for a while so those flavors can marry. And I think that's, yep, that smells good. I'm going to put this back in the fridge. Okay, I still have some energy to keep going, so I am going to bake my acorn squash tonight, especially because I feel like it's still good, but like it might not be good in another couple days, and I don't want to waste anything. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Jane Lottie. Is that how you say your name? Let me know. So this I'm going to roast. I'm going to roast it at 420. So I'm going to start the oven. And, when it's not as cold here as it used to be this time of year, right? But it is a little chilly. So anyways, it's nice to bake a lot. I mean, of course, but really it's when in the winter time, I'm like, oh no, I have to turn the stove on really high. Like that's awesome because I don't like being cold. Okay, now this is an example of where this kind of knife is not ideal. It's ideal for a lot of things, but yeah, not this. I'm a little hungry. I'm going to taste my rice and give it another stir. Whoops. Mm. that's good, and it's still a little al dente. So I might add a little bit of water back and actually turn the heat back on for a minute. So the way that I showed you how to do it is like, what's a good way to cook it al dente, but it's just really a matter of preference, you know, how much you want it to be like that. I think there's enough heat in there that I just needed to add a little water, and short grain rice definitely will do this, where it just kind of seems to keep soaking up water, and that's how risotto is made. But it's like by pouring wine into it. Maybe I should get some wine because I can't drink wine because of the sugar, but the sugar gets burnt off when you I think, doesn't it get cooked off with the alcohol? I might be wrong about that. I need to look it up because I really can't eat almost any sugar, but but that sounds good. So yeah, I don't think I need to turn the heat back on. I get a lot of my starches. I have fructose intolerance, so I get a lot of my carbohydrates from starches, from like complex starches, and I use dextrose because otherwise my blood sugar can get a little crazy. So definitely not a keto diet, and definitely not recommending anyone not eat sugar. But like dextrose is technically a sugar, but I can't have fructose and sucrose hardly at all. My body doesn't metabolize it well, so it makes me really sick. Okay, that is done. Like honestly, that's a little bit salty, but it's gonna go on the rice, so it'll balance out. Okay, and I'm gonna use this. This is called usually a bread knife, but it's serrated and really strong, and it's good for squash, which can be tricky. Can be tricky and difficult to cut. Definitely be careful if you're doing this for the first time. Like, always cut away from yourself. Just like basic safety stuff. But you know, a lot of people don't know how to cut up a squash. You know, you might have carved you might have carved a pumpkin. I do have some speech issues. Can you tell? Okay. But doing this, I think, is really helping. Definitely helping with confidence. So can you cut the skin off? Yes. Is it a huge unnecessary pain? Also, yes. I'm going to scrape out the seeds. I don't think I can wait to have some of the food I just made. I'm really hungry. Sorry for the clanking. I'm gonna get a little bit of that rice, and it is still kind of cooking because I added that water, but like I said, it's like a range of al dente to like mushy that is good. So that'll be good for now, just to have a little bite while I'm cooking the rest. Yeah, I'm gonna have a few bites of that before I finish prepping this squash. So these really beautiful chopsticks. I'll find some cool chopsticks to recommend to y'all. Today I'm recommending my Brita water bottle. Check it out. I love it. Yeah, that comes together really nicely. Hey, I'm ready to continue now. Excuse me. I'll give you a little squash, but you need to give me a little space. Okay, so I'll do this over here so you can see in case this is something you want to learn how to do. So, not a great example because I just scraped it, but the seeds are in here. The first step after you cut open the squash is to just scrape them out. This one I got lucky. It was like super easy. That's partly because the squash is really mature, by which I mean it's about to start growing. So the seeds are about to start growing and the fruit's about to start rotting. So I need to eat it today. But this like stuff in here is kind of like the placenta, right? That the seeds, that's how I think of it. So it's kind of dried out because these seeds are about ready to start growing. And then with a plant like this, they might eat through um, the rest of the meat of the squash. You know, I don't know. That's definitely one way that fruits like this sometimes grow. So again, I'm a biologist, so if you like nerdy biology stuff, this is a good place for you. If you like artsy chill stuff, this is also a good place for you. And if you like food and books and tea and coffee, yeah, just trying to make a chill environment for everyone to like be human and do human things. So I got all the seeds out. Sometimes I use my hands to get this stuff out, but I think I'm going to try to scrape more. And then I am going to roast the seeds too, but I do those separate. Excuse me. Yeah, you'll want to do those separate. I've noticed that the acorn squash seeds are a little bit thicker than the pumpkin seeds, so they also take a little longer to roast if you're going to do that with them. This is really pretty. This is just how the top of the acorn squash cuts off. Did you guys ever hear the saying that the chef is never hungry? Because when you're cooking, you're always like tasting it as you go to see how it's going, and or in my case, like making a small bowl just because you're hungry and want a snack. But um, I think it's a funny saying. I think there's a lot of truth to that, especially with like home cooking. But make sure whoever cooked ate, because sometimes that can be a whole other thing, right? But in my case, right now, it's just because I'm eating as I go. So by the time I finish, I might, by the time the squash is ready, I might have it later for dessert or something. So I was saying that I don't eat sucrose and fructose because I have fructose intolerance. I can't metabolize it. It makes me really sick. So, um, but I do use dextrose instead, and I really need it because otherwise I get low blood sugar. But anyways, I will put some dextrose on this so I can make desserts and stuff. That of course, just like anyone else, that I need to not eat too much of. That like for a special occasion with this, I'm gonna throw some sugar, some dextrose sugar on this squash that I'm cooking, and it'll be kind of like a pumpkin pie. And I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, so I can eat desserts like not overdoing it, but I can eat desserts, but I have to make them at home because there's very few places that you can be like, oh, can I have a cupcake made with like gluten-free flour and and dextrose instead of sucrose or fructose. So yeah, I'm fine as long as that's part of why I cook so much of my own food. It's like I like cooking, but I also have to cook most of my food by myself. Because for me, all of those intolerances are like very, very real. If I don't respect them, I get like very, very sick. Okay, I'm gonna have some more of this. Okay, the oven is ready. If it was the summertime, I'd be like, oh my God, can't have it on for a minute more than I need it. But it's cold out and it'll be fine to let the oven just warm the room a little as I finish prepping my acorn squash to bake. So you can definitely cut it in half and fill each half with butter, and that's a really yummy way to cook it. So I just decided to cube it instead this time, and I'm not sure why, but either way is good. Here, Ramsey, my dog says he is a very good dog, and acorn squash, he heard that that's good for dogs. Entertainment purposes only. So I just gave him a piece of this acorn squash. Here's my dextrose. Not too much. It's so easy to over pour right from the container like that. I was worried that I might have put too much cinnamon in this, but I did not. It's so good. I don't feel like you can really put in too much cinnamon. I mean, you can, but it's hard. Hi, Rocky P. Welcome. Hi, Mermaid Core. So I just made this leftover stir fry with like some of the turkey and cabbage and other stuff that I made for Thanksgiving and half an old burger patty. It's really, really good. I made some short grain white sticky rice. And now I'm cooking my acorn squash. I have this really nice pumpkin spice. So that will really make, that was a lot. That was a lot I just added. This pumpkin spice, I love it, don't get me wrong, but it's not enough cinnamon. Really, really love cinnamon. So yeah, there's not enough cinnamon for my taste in that mix. So I'm going to add a lot of that there. And maybe a little pepper, but honestly, there's like so much flavor in the acorn squash itself that you don't need all that stuff, but it is kind of like a holiday vibe. So I'm going to add a lot of butter and sugar than I normally would. Acorn squash, entertainment purposes only, have a pretty low glycemic index. And like I said, I have to be really careful about that, but I did. So normally I would just not add dextrose because it's like really those kind of starchy carbohydrates that your body digests more slowly are better for me and for most people. But like, I'm not saying everyone should be on my diet. I'm just saying I have to eat like this. So like the dextrose is what I use instead of sugar, and I use it to make sure I don't get low blood sugar or ketosis because I can't eat fructose or sucrose. So anyways, this is a dessert holiday acorn squash for myself. It's not a healthy, not going for low glycemic with this, but it is a great option, entertainment purposes only, if that's something or someone that you love needs or wants to be more careful about. Now more butter. So I was saying earlier that this is the only dairy thing I can eat because I have a really bad milk allergy. And if you're wondering, well, then how can you eat butter? There's like almost no milk protein in butter, which is what you usually, your immune system is reacting to with a true allergy like what I have with it. But I probably should make ghee because that's even more so where you're cooking off the milk solids, which includes whatever little bit of the protein might be there. Entertainment purposes only. Hi everyone, welcome. So yeah, I do have a lot of knowledge. I've studied this stuff for a long time, but I've also practiced for a long time because I was practicing massage therapy for quite a few years. You know, I'm a little older. I've done a lot of different things. So anyways, like, you know, I've learned to be really careful about, like, I'm not giving advice. You know, I'm sharing things that I think and entertainment purposes, and everyone needs to be responsible with that stuff. That's a lot of butter, but it is a dessert. So. Excuse me. Putting that in the oven now. It's 420 degrees. I'll probably cook that for 10 or 20 minutes. I'll keep checking in on it. I'm going to do the seeds and then I'll be done for the night. This is like a big container for this, but you do want them to be spread out so they don't clump together. I'm going to rinse them. So yeah, you want to get the sticky stuff that was feeding the seeds when it was inside the plant off as best you can. It's really hard to get it completely off. And these seeds float, so you don't want to accidentally lose any. And I could have used a sieve, but I didn't, so it's okay. Maybe I will though. No, they're really hard to clean because then the stuff gets stuck to those too. But other than that, it's a lot like washing the rice. Kind of swish it around and mess with it a little until you get the stuff you want off. In this case, it's the stringy stuff that feeds the seeds. Since I'm not using a sieve, I need to be really careful as I pour the water off not to lose any of the seeds. I just use my hand to keep them in the bowl as I pour the water off, and I lost one, but it's okay. Oh. Excuse me. Okay, so you mostly just want to like kind of dehydrate these. And I mean, you can slow dehydrate them. That's probably better, but I'm going to toast them. So I'm going to put them in there for like 5 or 10 minutes. Probably I'll turn the oven up even more from 420 to like 450, and that'll help save the heater a little energy. I think that's most of that stuff. It's not gonna hurt you if it's still in there. It's just usually people don't eat that part though, I don't think. Okay. And I'm going to add some Cajun seasoning. And I'm going to add some blackening seasoning, which oddly enough I haven't used yet tonight, but I did use it while I was making the turkey, so it's in there. And I'm going to add a little more paprika, because there's paprika in those mixes, but I like paprika a lot. So now I'm gonna start with a spoon, because if I get all the spices on my hands, it's gonna irritate them a little. So I'm trying to get the spices evenly distributed, and I'm trying to kind of spread them out evenly across this pan at the same time, and that way they'll cook really fast and evenly. Okay. I'm gonna turn this up to 440 and pop this in. I'm gonna let those cook for a minute, and I'll post a photo of how that turns out, because I'm just about, well, you know what, I guess I could just clean up a little and then I can show you how that squash looks at the end. I am not making another broth. I'm going to throw this away. Also, it's like a few days old already, so yeah, there's a limit to how long you want to keep doing that kind of thing. Oh. How's everyone doing tonight? If you're just getting here, I made a leftover stir fry. I used some turkey and some leftover burger and some leftover sausage and cabbage. That's about it. And I added some garlic and jalapeno and soy sauce and cooked some rice. It's really good. This is my Brita water bottle. It's awesome. Check it out. I'm going to just give that squash a stir. Especially because I added all that butter, so make sure it's like, now that it's melted, it smells really good, evenly distributed, and that definitely needs a little bit more time. Yeah, it's gonna take a little while for this to cook, so I will post a photo of the squash when it's done. Thank you for joining me tonight. I will be on again soon to talk about books or food or art. Have a good night.